Welcome to Catholic News World.
Welcome to Catholic News World. Here are this week's breaking news headlines.
Churches in Poland celebrated Corpus Christi with beautiful processions, and the primate said the Eucharist cannot be replaced by virtual reality. On Thursday, June 3, 2021, the Catholic Church celebrated the Feast of Corpus Christi, or the Body and Blood of our Lord Jesus. It is celebrated on the Thursday after Trinity Sunday. This solemnity is now assigned to the nearest Sunday in many countries. Following Polish tradition, colorful processions were held around the country. Poland has lifted many of its COVID-19 restrictions, but many Catholic dioceses toned down the celebrations as compared with the pre-pandemic years. The Catholic faithful in Poland usually attend Mass and then walk in a procession of the Blessed Sacrament while the faithful sing. The Polish primate, Archbishop Wojciech Polak, spoke about the longing for the presence, the meeting, and not only the external form of the celebration. It is about, as he added, a vivid awareness that the Eucharist is a sacrament of God's presence and that this essence could and can never be replaced by virtual reality. In Poland, the majority of the population is Catholic and nearly 95% of citizens identify as religious, and about half attend church weekly. The processions are attended by thousands, as the feast is one of the most important in the Roman Catholic Church. Pope Francis ended the marathon month of prayer asking for the end of the pandemic and the full resumption of pastoral and social life. 30 shrines alternated in the course of the month, praying the rosary under the presidency of the individual bishops. The Holy Father said, "I have seen so much participation among the people of God, that through the means of communication and the commitment of many shrines around the world it has reached millions of people, who with a single voice raised their prayers to the Holy Mother of God." We continue to ask the Lord to protect the whole world from the pandemic, and that everyone, without exception of any kind, be given the opportunity to take shelter through the vaccine soon. The prayer of the Rosary began with a solemn procession in the Vatican gardens of the icon of the Virgin Mary untying the knots, led by the Bishop of Augsburg, Bertram Johannes Meyer, accompanied by the children who received the First Communion of the parish of Santa Maria, the confirmed boys of the parish of San Domenico, and a group of scouts from Rome, some families and some religious representing the entire people of God. The procession was animated by the choir of the Diocese of Rome and from the band of Arcanazzo Romano. Cardinal Reinhard Marx of Germany offered his resignation to Pope Francis over the Church's abuse crisis. Cardinal Reinhard Marx, age 67, is a German cardinal of the Catholic Church and the Archbishop of Munich and Freising. Pope Benedict XVI elevated Marx as a cardinal in 2010. He offered his resignation as Archbishop to Pope Francis on the 4th of June 2021. Cardinal Marx wrote a personal declaration regarding the letter dated May 21, 2021. "I have asked the Holy Father on May 21, 2021 to accept my resignation as Archbishop of Munich and Freising and handed over the decision about my further service to him. He has now informed me that this letter may be published and that I should keep performing my service as bishop until his decision is made. In the past months, I have repeatedly thought about my resignation, introspected and tried to make the right decision in prayer and in the spiritual dialogue by discerning the spirits. The events and debates of the past weeks, however, only play a subordinate role in this context. Over the past years, I have repeatedly been asked questions which I have always on my mind and which constantly challenge me. An American journalist asked me during a conversation about the sexual abuse crisis in the Church and the events of the year 2010, "Eminence, did this change your faith?" And I replied, "Yes, it did." Afterwards it became clearer to me what I had said. The crisis not only concerns a required improvement of the administration, although it does concern it, but it is even more about the question of a renewed form of the Church and a new way to live and proclaim faith today. And I asked myself, what does this mean for me personally? I was asked the other question inter alia during the press conference of the German Bishops' Conference after the presentation of the MHG survey in September 2018, whether one of the bishops had taken responsibility and offered his resignation in light of the presentation of the survey. I replied to this question with, no. And also in this case I have increasingly felt afterwards that this question cannot just be set aside. The Catholic Archbishop of Vancouver wrote an apology to First Nations communities and offered support after discovery of the remains of 215 children at a former residential school. Archbishop J. Michael Miller wrote, "Dear First Nations governments and all Indigenous communities, families and citizens. In light of the heartbreaking disclosure of the remains of 215 children at the former Kamloops Indian Residential School, I am writing to express my deep apology and profound condolences to the families and communities that have been devastated by this horrific news. Each time new evidence of a tragedy is revealed, or another victim comes forward, countless wounds are reopened, and I know that you experience renewed suffering. I take this opportunity to reflect upon the apology I gave publicly before the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in 2013, words to which I remain committed and accountable. I wish to apologize sincerely and profoundly to the survivors and their families, as well as to all those subsequently affected, for the anguish caused by the deplorable conduct of those Catholics who perpetrated mistreatment of any kind in these residential schools. The Church was unquestionably wrong in implementing a government colonialist policy which resulted in devastation for children, families and communities. If words of apology for such unspeakable deeds are to bring life and healing, they must be accompanied by tangible actions that foster the full disclosure of the truth. Truth comes before reconciliation. On behalf of the people of the Archdiocese of Vancouver, I commit to the following first steps in support of the nations, families and communities impacted by the recent heartrending disclosure. We will be fully transparent with our archives and records regarding all residential schools, and strongly urge all other Catholic and government organizations to do the same. Our records regarding the Kamloops Indian Residential School were provided to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission and will remain available for review. We will offer and support mental health support and counseling for family members and others whose loved ones may be buried on the site of the former Kamloops Indian Residential School.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. God bless.
Please subscribe to Catholic News World's YouTube channel. Thanks and God bless.